Okay, so let's dive into this. Imagine this scenario. You're working in AI, maybe at Google DeepMind, and suddenly you're told, hey, take the next year off.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pay you your full salary. Just don't work. Sounds pretty good, right? Like
Yeah.
almost a dream job.
Yeah, I mean, on the surface, who wouldn't want a fully paid year off? It sounds incredible.
Exactly. But hold on. It's not quite the amazing vacation package, it seems.
Right. There's always a catch, isn't there?
There usually is. What we're really talking about here is something called extended garden leave.
Garden leave. Okay.
And it's all tangled up with non-compete agreements in their contracts. You see these a lot in tech.
Definitely. Standard practice in many places.
So what Google's doing essentially is paying these former engineers not to take their skills and knowledge to a competitor for a whole year.
Yeah, and for folks maybe less familiar, a non-compete, well, it's basically a contract clause. It stops employees, especially ones with access to, secret sauce,
Right, the important stuff.
from jumping straight to a rival company right after they leave. The whole point is protecting the company's proprietary information, their intellectual property.
They're secrets, basically.
Exactly. And in a field like AI that's moving at, well, lightning speed,
Yeah.
that protection becomes super important.
Makes sense. And word is, at DeepMind, these non-competes.
Yeah.
Usually about 6 months.
That sounds about standard for the industry, yeah.
But, and this is the key bit,
Hmm.
for people working on the really big projects, the cutting-edge stuff, like their Gemini AI models.
The high-stakes work.
Precisely.
Hmm.
For them, Google's extending it to a full 12 months.
A whole year on the sidelines. Wow.
Now, like we said, from the outside looking in, a year off, full pay, sounds like an amazing sabbatical. Time to travel relaxing.
The golden sabbatical idea.
Yeah.
Very appealing.
And this really caught my attention.
Yeah.
We heard from someone who used to be at DeepMind.
Oh, yeah. What did they say?
They put it very simply. A year is forever in the world of AI.
Oof. Yeah, that hits hard. And it's probably true?
Can you maybe unpack that a bit? Like, what actually happens in AI in just 1 year that makes sitting out feel like, well, forever?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. In lots of industries, a year is, progress, maybe some updates, tweaks.
Incremental stuff.
Right. But AI, it's exponential.
Mm.
In just 12 months, you could see completely new ways of building models, major breakthroughs in how they learn.
New algorithms, new applications.
Exactly. Things you couldn't even imagine a year before. So if you're a researcher, right in the thick of it, being benched for that long,
Yeah.
it genuinely could feel like you're falling miles behind. Your knowledge gets stale, your practical skills. It's a long time.
Right. Okay, so that really sets up the big question for this deep dive then. Why? Why would a company like Google, with all its resources, pay these super smart, highly skilled people to do nothing? Professionally speaking, for such a long time, what's the strategy?
Well, okay, let's start with Google's official line on this. What they say is, look, our contracts, including these non-competes, they're pretty standard for the tech industry.
Industry norms, basically.
Yeah. And they also stress that they don't use them, blanketly. It's selective. Only when they feel it's really necessary to protect their business interests, their IP.
Okay, fair enough. That's the corporate perspective. But, you guessed it,
There's another side to the story.
always. We're hearing from some of the former DeepMind staff themselves, and they see it quite differently.
Let me guess. They're not thrilled.
Not exactly. They feel these clauses are way too restrictive. Not just legally, but like creatively too.
Yeah.
Professionally stifling.
That's interesting. The creative frustration part. So it's not just about where they can work.
No, it seems deeper than that.
It's about being blocked from doing any meaningful work in the field they're passionate about, even though they're still getting paid.
That seems to be a huge part of it. It really highlights, these aren't just people clocking in and out. They're driven by the science, the discovery.
That intrinsic motivation, yeah. The curiosity. Being paid to sit idle must feel wrong in a way.
Exactly. So, okay, if we push past the official statements and the employee frustration, what's the real why here? What's Google's underlying goal?
Well, I think it really boils down to one word. Control.
Control.
Yeah. Right now, AI talent is incredibly valuable, gold dust, and the competition is fierce. So companies like Google, they're willing to spend big bucks just to stop their top people and all the knowledge in their heads.
From walking over to a competitor.
Precisely. Preventing that brain drain and stopping rivals from getting that immediate leg up.
So connecting that dot, It's not just about Google building the best AI faster.
No, not entirely. It's also a defensive move, right?
Ah, okay. Explain that.
It's about stopping other companies from speeding up their development by hiring away your recently departed experts. It's like preventing a competitor from getting a year's worth of potential breakthroughs that might come from that person's insights.
Right. So it's offense and defense. Build your own stuff, but also hinder the competition.
Pretty much. It's a strategic calculation, not really about the individual's desire to work or not.
That makes a lot more sense in context. And you mentioned fierce competition.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's more than just friendly rivalry over there in Silicon Valley.
Oh, it's definitely escalated beyond that. People are calling it an AI arms race.
An arms race. Wow.
Yeah. The fight for the top AI minds is intense. I saw one report describe this whole garden leaf thing as a corporate hostage situation with full benefits.
Huh. That's quite a phrase. Or,
Or even the world's most lucrative timeout.
okay, those paint a pretty vivid picture. A timeout where you still get paid millions, maybe.
Exactly. It really captures the paradox, doesn't it? These people are incredibly valued for their skills.
Yet they're being paid specifically not to use those skills, at least for a while.
Yep. By the very company that valued them so highly. It's weird.
So what's driving this economically, I mean? Why such extreme measures?
Well, look at the stakes. AI is seen as the key to like a multi-trillion-dollar tech future. Everyone wants a piece of that pie.
Right. The potential payoff is enormous.
Huge. And innovation's happening constantly. New ideas, new applications popping up all the time. But, and this is crucial, the pool of truly elite, top-tier AI researchers, it's actually pretty small.
Ah, scarcity. Classic economics.
Exactly. You've got this massive demand fueled by trillions of dollars in potential future value, chasing a very limited supply of super specialized talent.
So that imbalance drives, well, unusual market behavior.
Unusual and sometimes pretty aggressive behavior, yeah. Companies are locked in this high-stakes battle over a relatively small group of people.
And it's not just Google playing this game, right? This kind of garden leave or other aggressive tactic.
Oh, absolutely not. Other big tech players are definitely in the mix, trying all sorts of things to grab and keep AI talent.
Like what? Any examples?
Well, there were reports, for instance, that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg was personally emailing AI researchers at Google.
Zuckerberg himself, wow.
Yeah. Apparently even offering jobs without interviews in some cases.
No interview, just come work for us.
That's the story. It just shows how desperate they are, how valuable these specific people are perceived to be, skipping the whole vetting process.
That speaks volumes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other stories like that?
There's another one involving Google, actually. One of their co-founders, Sergey Brin.
Okay.
Apparently, he personally got involved when a key employee was thinking of leaving for OpenAI.
Brin himself stepped in?
Yep. Made a personal pitch to convince them to stay. Reportedly promised even more perks, better benefits, the works.
Wow. Direct intervention from a founder. That really shows how critical they see keeping these individuals.
It really does. It's just the cost of losing that person to a major rival like OpenAI was seen as so high, it warranted pulling out all the stops.
And this isn't just a U.S. thing, is it? This talent war.
No, it's gone completely global. Absolutely.
So international competition, too.
Definitely. You hear about companies like Huawei in China, for example, offering salaries that are reportedly like triple what someone might make at a top semiconductor company like TSMC.
Triple. That's a huge incentive. Massive. And it's not just Huawei. Other Chinese AI companies are apparently throwing huge amounts of money at Western AI researchers, trying to lure them over.
So it's a global bidding war now.
Pretty much. It adds this whole other layer of complexity. It's not just Silicon Valley competing with itself anymore. There's a genuine international race for AI dominance, and talent acquisition is right at the center of it.
Makes sense. But okay, all this focus on recruitment, retention, these aggressive tactics, paying people not to work. What about the human cost? What's the impact on the actual researchers caught in the middle of this?
That's a really crucial point, actually. Is this sustainable for the people involved?
Right.
I mean, think about the pressure. Constantly being recruited, potentially facing these long non-compete periods. There's a real risk of burnout, isn't there?
Seems likely.
And like that first report hinted at, where's the time for these brilliant minds to just breathe? To explore their own ideas, to remember why they got into this field in the first place.
Yeah, when you're just seen as a strategic asset to be acquired or locked down.
Exactly. Being treated like a highly valuable commodity. It might sound good, but it probably comes with its own set of stresses and, frankly, limitations.
That sounds exhausting, honestly. So if we sort of pull back and look at the big picture,
Yeah.
The war for AI talent is real. It's happening now.
Hmm.
And it seems to be getting, well, weirder, more unusual.
Absolutely. The strategies we're seeing, like this extended paid garden leave, they really underscore the almost unbelievable value placed on these skills right now, and the extreme lengths companies will go to just to get or keep an edge in AI.
Which brings us back to where we started with this really strange paradox.
Right.
You have these incredibly skilled, highly sought-after people being paid extremely well,
Yeah.
essentially to be professionally inactive, not to innovate, but to wait.
It is genuinely fascinating and maybe a little unsettling when you think about it.
It really is, and maybe that leaves us with a final thought, something for our listeners to chew on.
Okay.
Given how fast AI is moving, and this incredibly fierce, almost bizarre competition for the people driving it,
Yeah.
what are the long-term consequences of these kinds of extreme measures? Controlling the flow of knowledge, paying people to sit out.
That's a big question.
Is this sustainable for innovation, for the companies, for the people? And what unforeseen effects might ripple out from this high-stakes game for technology and for the researchers themselves?
Yeah. What does it mean for the future when knowledge itself becomes a kind of corporate weapon held back or deployed strategically like this? Definitely something worth pondering long after this deep dive.